Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the second day in the afternoon. And if it's your second day, then welcome to the event. And if it's your, welcome back to the event. If it's your first day, welcome to the event. Today's session is entitled, Get Your Ticketing System Right, and the rest will follow. Sorry. And we hear the terms ticketing and CRM often used interchangeably. Some people refer to their system as a ticketing system, some as a CRM system. And for some, they may be two completely different things, but we'd like to think about them being a single, unified solution. And that's exactly what today's talk is all about, and the benefits that that single, unified solution can provide. My name is Gareth Voyle, and I work in the customer success team for Tessitura. And in today's session, we're going to look at who Tessitura are as an organization. And we're going to introduce Kevin Madeira, who likes to make a dramatic entrance, as you may all be aware. And also then we're going to introduce colleague John from the Tate. So, introducing Tessitura, we are a not-for-profit technology company working with over 800 arts and cultural organizations in 10 countries. We do not work in any other sector other than arts and culture. And we were founded to solve a problem of disparate systems, data silos, and organizational teams not speaking to one another. And that really was the birth of Tessitura. And Tessitura, at its heart, is a CRM solution with equally strong functionality across all of the areas that you see on the screen there. So it's appropriate for us to be involved in arts and culture organizations, performing arts venues, museums, heritage organizations, attractions, festivals. So we work across that entire sphere of arts and culture. And Tessitura was built to gather data to enable an understanding of how visitors interact with organizations through the many touch points available. So whether you have a walk-in sale, whether you have somebody who's looking to buy a membership or upgrade a membership, or somebody who's on the website, joins a mailing list, all of those touch points and many more will be captured in one unified CRM. And we want to help organizations to thrive. That is the core element of what we are trying to achieve, and to evolve their understanding of their visitors, and then put that understanding at the center of their decision making. And today, I am joined by two fantastic organizations and two of our community members who will share their experiences and thoughts on how Tessitura and their ticketing approach has brought success to their organizations. And here's an image of the two organizations that we're going to hear from today, just to visualize kind of these buildings exist, these people are out there and they're doing the great work. And at Tessitura, we spend our time considering how all of the touch points that I've mentioned with a visitor can provide value. How can you get every sense and sentiment of value out of every single touch point? How can you gather information such as preferences, how they plan their visit in the first place, what triggers their booking? Do they come as a group? Do they book in advance? Do they book last minute? And then who do they attend with? How frequently do they visit? Are they making donations, and are those donations tied to their attendance? And we're obsessed at Tessitura with bringing all of this incidental data into the hands of organizations, almost like pieces of a puzzle that you can identify and put together to build a wider picture and understanding of your audience. But we do it in a way that ensures that that data and all of those findings and understanding are actionable. And if we know more about our visitors, then we can use this information to inform our decision making, to further encourage their engagement with us as an organization. Would a frequent attender benefit from a membership, or how can we encourage a first-time attender who lives locally to come back? And by structuring this information into usable, reportable formats, it becomes a really powerful tool for segmentation and for strategic decision-making. This data-driven approach enables organizations to make informed decisions that enhance visitor experience, operational efficiency, and overall, the main approach here is impact. And for more information on us as an organization, who we are and what we do, please stop by booth N8. We're just over that way. We've got chocolates if you need a little sugar boost to get you through the rest of the afternoon. And to that end, I am thrilled to welcome Kevin. I think Kevin has just arrived. Yes, I'm thrilled to welcome Kevin, who is fashionably on time, and also John. who really are the experts and are going to tell us more about how this all works in the very real world of their organizations. So I think as Kevin is being set up, John, are you happy for me to step over to your slides, or are we?
We can do it however you want to go. Let's do John.
Okay, I'll introduce you to John then, first of all. So I'm going to skip through. And introducing John Hayworth.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
No problem. Hello, everyone. Hello, Kevin. I am John Howarth. I'm the Senior Commercial Systems Manager at Tate. I use he, him pronouns. I'm a middle-aged guy. I've got grey hair and glasses. And I'm wearing a jacket and jeans and a stripy blue shirt today. You hopefully know Tate is a family of 4 galleries. We've got 2 in London, Tate Britain, Tate Modern. We've got 1 in Liverpool. We've got 1 in St Ives. And we have free displays and paid exhibitions and all sorts of stuff going on. And part of my job is looking after the ticketing technology. A team at Testura asked me to come along and talk to you today, and they gave me the title for this session, Get Your Ticketing Right, and the rest will follow. And they asked me to have a think about it, and so I went away and thought about it, and I decided that I disagreed with it, which is a bit awkward because I'm here to talk to you about it today. But it's not really that I disagree with it, it's just that I would like to put a bit of a caveat against it. And so I would like to call this session something more like that, which is not as catchy a title, and I will come back to that. Look, of course we should get our ticketing right, so let's start off with what happens when we do. We put an exhibition on sale, and we sell some tickets for it, and we get some income. Now, income is not actually a dirty word, although we do struggle with that a bit in the sector. I think it's common to a lot of arts and culture organisations. Tate wants to share our collection. It's really important to us. We see it as inspirational and awe-inspiring. We want people to come along and feel the impact that it can have on them. And we want to open up our doors and say, hey, come on in, look at some amazing art. And while you're here, please can we have some of your money? And that sometimes feels like a slightly odd balance to have to strike, but we do need to find a way to navigate through that because the income is so important to Tate. We couldn't exist without it. We couldn't run the organisation without this substantial slice of revenue that we get from ticketing sales. Getting the income bit of ticketing right is really hard. It involves like a lot of thinking, a really complicated pricing framework that we've drawn up over the years. But when we get it right, we get this vital income. We also get insights, and we love insight. We are obsessed with insights at Tate. We know so much about the behaviour of ticket buyers. Of course, we know what days and times are most popular, so we can kind of plan the exhibitions, we can manage staffing in the gallery, the flow of people through an exhibition. And we know about dropout rates, so we can help with capacity planning. And we know how far in advance people like to buy their tickets, and that helps for individual CRM campaigns, but also on a kind of a macro level, so we can plan marketing spend. And we know to an extent when actually to schedule exhibitions. So we've learned, for example, not to put things on sale just before Christmas, because we spend loads of money on the marketing, and then you will go on your Christmas holidays and you don't buy any tickets, and then we have to do it all over again in the new year. We know about the distribution of visits, and we know that exhibitions are U-shaped, so people come at the beginning and they come at the end, but they're kind of quieter in the middle. And so we try and schedule them so they sort of prop each other up and support each other. And we get a sense of the demographics of who's coming. Broad brushstrokes, sure, and so we do qual research in the galleries as well, but the broad brushstrokes are useful and they're important and they form part of the reporting that we do to DCMS. But to get these insights, we've got to get ticketing right in the first place. So when we do, we get the vital money, we get the vital information. What else do we get? We get capacity control, which is absolutely not sexy, but it is super important. We want people to have a great experience. We want to operate the gallery safely. In 2018 at Tate Modern, we had 2 blockbuster exhibitions. We had Modigliani and we had Picasso, 2 incredible exhibitions. And there was a 3-week overlap when Modigliani was closing and Picasso had just opened. And this happens a lot, it's nothing unusual. But in this particular case, the 2 exhibitions were at opposite ends of the same floor at Tate Modern. And when we did the planning of how many people we thought were going to come to these exhibitions, we realised we actually had to start to consider the combined weight of their bodies because there was a risk they were going to exceed the load-bearing limit of the building itself. Now, I've always thought Tate Modern was quite sturdy, but that was definitely a new perspective that I got out of it there. But the point I'm trying to make is that the capacity planning is only half of that battle. And if we hadn't got the ticketing right and been able to control that capacity through the ticketing, we would have had a very different experience. We wouldn't have been able to manage the situation safely. But the most important bit for me is we can make people feel welcome. And for us, it's so incredibly important that Tate is seen as somewhere that's open and inclusive and welcoming and a place for people like you and like me and like everyone else. And ticketing can support this feeling in all sorts of ways. So we can give you a discount if you're on a reduced income. We can offer you a free companion ticket if you have a carer that you need to come to the exhibition with you to support you. We can run time slots for neurodiverse visitors where the capacity is lower, or if it's a really experiential exhibition where we turn down the noise or bump up the lighting or something like that. If you're a teacher doing a school visit, you can have a free reconnaissance ticket. You can come and scope us out beforehand, which takes away some of the stress when you actually arrive with, 50 little kids in tow on the day. We can do cheaper tickets for younger audiences through our Take Collective scheme, and younger audiences and more diverse audiences. And diverse audiences are really important to us, and so we can help support that welcome for people who historically have been underrepresented at Tate. So if we get the ticketing right, we can make people feel welcome before they're even in the building, which is incredibly powerful for me. But look, I know you actually want to hear about what happens when it goes wrong, because that's much more interesting. And although I would say I like to think we usually get it right, but we are always trying to do better, and sometimes things don't go according to plan. Some of you may have visited our Kusama Infinity Mirror Rooms exhibition at Tate Modern a couple of years ago. Okay, cool. If you did, then depending on when you visited it, you may have had to sit in quite a lengthy online queue to buy your tickets. And if that was you, I'm really sorry. This was a limitation of our back-end systems, the speed at which we could process transactions, and it had never been a problem before until we got this incredible demand for this exhibition. And I should just say for the record, because I can feel Gareth shifting slightly in his seat, that this was before we were using Tessitura. This was on our old ticketing system, the nameless ticketing system, System X. And things are better now. Thank you, Tessitura. That's much appreciated. So anyway, we had this limitation that meant we had this huge queue for online bookings. And at one point, the queue had got so long that people were waiting in it for 34 hours. And Brits like a queue, but that's just too much. You can probably imagine that a lot of people spent their time tweeting us about their experience, and so I've brought a selection of those tweets along for you today. This person thought we were really cool, and our ticketing system was an absolute triumph. So always start on a high. This person called us a nightmare. Not quite so great. This person thought we were a shambles. You can kind of see why, because they were in a queue that effectively has the entire population of Basingstoke in front of them, and so you can support that feeling. I like this one the best, because at least they managed to take something positive out of the whole experience. But look, overall, this is not how we want people to think about Tate. But the weird thing about this for me, people came to this exhibition, they still came. They came and they queued and they came back and they queued again if they didn't get the ticket the first time around. Some people came back and queued again to get another ticket to come back to the exhibition again. And we released these batches of tickets every month, and this kept happening. It was really weird. And look, it was a good exhibition. I suppose that's ultimately what drove the behaviour. And we could even say that quite a few things worked fine. So we got our income, we got our insights, we did our capacity control. What's wrong with that? But the problem is that the overall experience was miles away from where we needed it to be. And we talk a lot about the end-to-end experience at Tate. We want everything to be joyful. We want you to be excited about coming. We want you to come and have a great time. We want you to take away some happy memories. We want you to come back. And if we're getting the ticketing wrong so early in that kind of end-to-end process, actually you might even drop out. You might come to the one exhibition because you managed to get your ticket in the end, but you might never come back. We might lose you forever. These touch points throughout this end-to-end journey are so important. They're so important for informing your opinion about Tate and what it's like to come and visit us and whether you want to come back. Which brings me back to what I said at the start of the presentation about the caveat, which is that ticketing is only a tiny part of what goes into making up a really great visit to somewhere like Tate. There's so much else around it, and so I don't believe that just getting your ticketing right means that everything else follows through. We've got to get the programme right. We've got to get the marketing right to tell you a compelling story about why you want to come to the galleries. We've got to get the ticketing right, sure, but we've also got to send you some useful pre-visit comms. Gallery needs to be open when you want it to be. It needs to be accessible, and you're going to bump into a bunch of people during your visit. You're going to, see security guards and people on the information desk and in the cloakroom and in the displays and the exhibitions. They all need to be lovely and kind and helpful and welcoming. The exhibition's got to be beautiful. It's got to be inspirational and thought-provoking. You probably go to the loo. You might come to the gift shop. Please come to the gift shop and the cafe when you visit Tate. But these thousands of little moments of truth, this is what informs your overall opinion. And ticketing is just that one tiny slice. And so I'll wrap up by leaving you with the phrase that we have something of a mantra at Tate. And if any of you have ever met David Hingley, you will recognise this instantly as his handiwork. But people make places. We say this so much, and we say this again and again and again because it's true. We can only be who we want to be if everybody in the organisation is focusing on making life brilliant for our visitors. The art is super important. It is why you come to visit Tate, but it's the people that are crucial. It's the people who work behind the scenes, who work front of house, who will make you want to come back and make you take away those happy memories. And so I said at the beginning, of course you should get your ticketing right. Great things happen when you do. But even if you get your ticketing perfect, you ignore everything else at your peril. Thank you very much. Kevin.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Okay, sorry about this.
There you go. Make sure you keep the microphone close to you.
Yep. Okay. Hello, I'm Kevin from the Royal Academy of Arts, the RA. I'm the ticketing tessitura systems manager. I work in the digital product and infrastructure team at the RA. We have a few developers in our team as well as a few product managers, and we look after Tessitura, the daily running of it, as well as a few other systems and websites. I've just got a few pretty pictures of the RA. So if you don't already know about us, we're located in Burlington House in central London. We were established a little over 250 years ago, and we showcase around 5 or 6 exhibitions every year. We also have a large suite of standalone events as part of our public program offering, and we also have an active school, so there are actually art students on site. Now, the RA is actually an independent charity, which means that we don't get any funding from the government. So we are heavily reliant on our membership, ticket sales, donations, and this is all the more reason why we have to make our processes efficient as possible for our visitors, supporters, and staff. Just having a look at the Tessitura landscape at the RA, broadly speaking, we have the application which is used by staff. So if you're going to buy a ticket on site or over the phone, you'll have a staff member go in there. A fundraising staff member will log in, process donations, track relationships and seeing how that's going. We also use Tessitura's e-commerce platform, and that's better known as TNU, and that enables us to sell memberships, ticket sales, and take donations over online. And it also offers customers the ability to self-service if they need to update their details, their marketing preferences, and so forth. We've also organised our scanners through Tessitura, so that allows us to have access control to exhibitions, to standalone events, and also areas of the RA that are cordoned off for members. So we can actually control if people are allowed to go in there, and it's all up to date and it's all in real time. We also use some of Tessitura's ecosystem partners. So the most prominent one is our email service provider, or ESP, that's Wordfly, and that talks directly with Tessitura. So there's no need for a staff member to actually extract data, put that in the ESP. They actually talk to each other over an API connection. We've also had to use an online waiting facility for some major on sales if there's high traffic. So we had a Marina Abramovich retrospective a couple of years ago, and that almost brought our site down. So that helps us out there. The last two items there on the slide are some custom projects. So as I said, there is the API, which is the ability to manipulate data with a database over the internet. So we're just about to launch a single sign-on with our summer exhibition website, which is where you can actually buy artwork for our upcoming exhibition opening next month, as well as some custom sign-up forms where people can sign up, and we've just developed that to make that process frictionless. Having a look at some of the functions that we do at the RA, this is by no means exhaustive. Up the top, we've got memberships, and that's our bread and butter and keeps our doors open. We take payments by card and direct debit, which is a very important payment method for us. Memberships last for 12 months, and they give free access to members so they can go in the exhibitions as much as they like. Down the bottom, we've got customer relationship management. So there's all the customer interests, communication, eligibility, segmentation. Over on the right, we've got fundraising. So that's donation processing, stewarding, or the ability to steward new donors, track relationships with current donors, and reporting, analytics, reports. There is the ability to write your own reports. So if you need something in addition to what comes shipped with Tessitura, you can actually go beyond that and create something of your own. In the middle, we've got tickets. So as I mentioned, we've got exhibitions, the public program, and architecture events. We also use Tessitura to administer bookings for our members. So they can book tables in our academicians room. So largely, we use the Tessitura ticketing module for that with some custom code just to make it work in a way that meets our business requirements. So you can really use the ticketing module in Tessitura to sell a whole range of things, not just tickets. It could be merchandise, vouchers, food and drink, and so forth. Down the bottom, we've got controlling availability and pricing. I'll come to that in a moment. And also, we can set up promo codes. So if we want to set out an offer to our corporate sponsors, for example, that they can share with their employees, that can be done. This is the tip of the iceberg that I'm looking here. I've just taken 4 examples of how we've increased efficiency for our customers and staff at the RA during our Tessitura journey over the last 5 years. We've got automated service emails, controlling tickets, having one ticket template to cater for a whole range of needs, and digital membership cards, which I don't think need a lot of sales pitch to highlight the efficiency there. So looking at automating service emails, we had our emails automated already for our exhibitions as part of our implementation, but we didn't have this for our standalone events as part of our public programming. So what would happen is a staff member would actually create a list of bookers in Tessitura. That would go into our ESP, email service provider. That person would write the copy for that event, get that all ready, and then press the send button. But now we're taking advantage of the various content fields that are part of Tessitura's event build module. So this can house information like what are the best doors to use, the best entrance. We have 2 entrances at the RA. We do have some of our events that are streamed, live streamed, so we do need to populate these with Zoom links, and we'll also send a recording at a later date, around 10 days after an event, and that will have the details and the password. We do control what events are actually eligible for this process, so not all events go through them. So sometimes we don't include everything. Sometimes events will have a pre-visit email, but they won't have a post, and vice versa. A programmer might want to send something manually, but we still want to have a follow-up email which has a survey that links to a Looker Studio. And of course, we send this. We have an audit that goes around regularly, so people can keep track of any changes that are required. So if an event is cancelled or something changes, there's accountability. Moving on to ticket control. This is like a sales pitch, I realise, for Tessitura. This is mainly tied with our 25 and under scheme. So we launched this about a year and a half ago, and it was to entice young people to exhibitions. That works by people signing up to the scheme. They provide their email address, date of birth, and they get tailored communications as part of that scheme. Now, they get half-price tickets, and we do have a cap of, I think, 5 tickets per exhibition. So we have control there that looks at people's eligibility over each exhibition. And if you can see in the slideshow there, I've just got an example where I've already reached that capacity of 5 tickets and I'm trying to buy beyond that. This means that we don't have to have people logging in, looking and adjusting configuration. And it also doesn't bar the customer from buying additional tickets. So it's a friendly message there. If they wish, they can still purchase tickets. They're not barred, just at the full price. The other example Ticket Control relates to is our member purchase journey online. Normally, members would actually log into their account first before starting their ticket journey, so they're actually recognized as a member and they have access to the free tickets, which is fine. But we did actually want to cover the caveat if members start adding tickets to their basket and then they log in, there's no automatic switch of tickets. So we're using some tessitura functionality as well as some of our own custom code, which will look at their eligibility and it will actually switch tickets over once they log in. So our standard members can have 2 tickets for an exhibition. If they've got 4 tickets, it will switch 2 of those. Joint members can have 4 tickets. It will switch all 4 tickets over for them. The third one is our template. So once upon a time, we had PDF templates, which was actually 1 page per ticket. So you can imagine inboxes were ballooning with file attachments. We had to have a different template for every permutation that was possible. So if you think of all the event types, customer types, price types, we had to have all these different variations. But now we use Tessitura's mobile ticket template. This actually puts the tickets in the body of the email, and with some coding in the background, we can actually code that. We've coded that to tailor to all these different types of scenarios. So in the slideshow there, we've got a member who doesn't actually get a QR code. They're just asked to bring their membership card, and that will be scanned. And then we've got a QR code down there. It renders for mobile devices, and the ability to add mobile tickets to Wallet, Apple Wallet and Google is available. We haven't gone there yet, but that is on our roadmap to tackle very soon. Okay, very quickly, digital membership cards. This is available from our account hub. It's a QR code. Again, people don't have to have a physical card, but they can just scan in. And if they forget their card, they can just log in and scan in. Thank you very much. And we're over to Q&A.
Thank you. I've got time for one question. It would be lovely to have a nice audience question. Oh, you got...
Yeah. That's really impressive in terms of what you guys have done with the system. And I think the adaptations, Kevin, that you've made there are good. What's the one thing that you'd like to add that you don't have?
That's a really good question.
Sorry.
No. I'm just trying to think of our very extensive roadmap and I've gone completely blank on it. Look, I think the nice thing about Tesstura is actually it is very extensible, and so there is stuff that, so both the RA and Tate have got digital membership cards, but we had to kind of roll our own solutions for that because it wasn't out of the box functionality when we got there. So I think there's all sorts of cool things we would like to do, but I feel like we could build them on top of Tesstura anyway. There's not like a killer feature that I think it's desperately lacking. I don't know, what do you reckon? What's the one thing you would want if you could have anything?
It's an evolving system. So they have a product roadmap, and they're bringing in more and more functionality as time goes on. I mean, we don't make we don't make use of it, but they actually have a planning tool, so you can actually use it as like a venue management system, if you like. Room bookings. I think some institutions might use it for education bookings, for example. So I think we haven't explored that yet. That might be something in the future.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Oh, just 1 second.
Digital membership cards will be released in a couple of months as out of the box, so that's coming. Yeah.
Well done, Gareth. Everybody, that was a wonderful presentation, wasn't it? So why don't we give John, Kevin and Gareth a big round of applause. Thank you very much.